So this I find interesting because you have UAP activity around this nuclear power plant. Should we just watch the video?
And I'll just quickly say, Jesse, to your point, the nuclear connection is extraordinary. It is remarkable. And I've written about it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's amazing. And more and more, Roswell itself, the site of the 509th Atomic Bomber Squadron, the first bomber squadron in the U.S., you have, the Trinity test site, possibly there was a crash there. Unclear. You have D.D. Johnson on one side. You have Jacques Vallée on the other side. They're kind of arguing.
Well, Lonnie Zamora happened a couple miles from
a couple of miles from there. It would be the reason that New Mexico is such a hot spot.
It's
I'm with Arrow on this one, though. I think there's a lot of reporting bias. You get reports on highly sensitive sites just because people are much more vigilant. People who work on these sites are trained to report things, and people who work at Walmart are not trained to report things.
Mick,
like
you got to read the cable, and this is again to John Reed Greenwald's credit. Like, you got to read the cable, like 1975. Do you know anything about those incursions where you can see in a literally a cable to the Pentagon?
Right, but is that nuclear specific?
Absolutely, 100%. And it says the language is a clear intent. So there's objects hovering 10 feet above their nuclear weapon storage facilities, right?
And there are videos of the plume of various detonations where you see the UFOs. Like there's one Bluegill Triple Prime.
Yeah,
I think 62.
I think they were either spotter planes or something else, but I can't remember what they were exactly. But that was resolved, as I recall.
Was it?
Yeah,
We'll look it up.
We should look it up. Yeah. I'd love to resolve. And another, even Virginia in Brazil, where James Fox went down and investigated for moment of contact, where you have all these hapless local citizens who don't seem like liars.
Is there a nuclear power station there?
Yeah, that was the start of their nuclear program, is what I've heard. And so I don't know. It just keeps popping up with the nuclear thing, and it does cut through
Lake and Heath just recently.
Lake and Heath, there you go.
Allegedly, according to open source reporting, that it's supposed to host U.S. nuclear weapons. Lake and Heath was one of the site of one of the most extraordinary historical accounts. 1956, James McDonald wrote quite a bit about this, and folks at home, just look up Lake and Heath 1956 McDonald. You'll find CIA documents. You'll find a really lengthy write-up on the Princeton.edu website that is just absolutely astounding.
Also, Royal Air Force Bentwaters.
Correct.
Near Suffolk.
1980, yep.
1980,
yep.
You have a bunch of witnesses, because it was joint, managed by the U.S.
Correct.
and the Royal Air Force. You have a bunch of, John Burroughs, Jim Peniston, Colonel Halt, who did the investigation.
And the audio, and then, yeah.
I was listening to the book on the way here, UFO and Nukes.
Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Because I told you to read
I
that.
can certainly see how it would seem compelling, because there's account after account after account of something seen by.
And if you meet, I actually get the sense from you, I don't think you're a liar at all. I think you're very, no, I mean it. I really get this, clear attention to detail, good, earnest vibe. And that's the same vibe I get from Robert Hastings. In fact, the way I connected with Robert Hastings.
I don't think he was lying in the book.
No, I know you're not accusing him of that, but he's dedicated his life to this, and the amount of granular detail. You should meet him if you're interested. He reached out to me. This is how I got in touch with him. I made my piece with David Grush, and I screwed it up, and I overstated the case. I was like, UFOs and nukes, you have, over 100, and I go missileers, ICBM security personnel, a few other people, and it's 170 total witnesses, but it wasn't 100, radar operators or whatever. And I just misspoke in the moment.
Yeah, I see,
But I love it. He emailed me and he said, Jesse, it was only 12 to 15. I don't remember the exact number, but radar operators, the rest were ICBM security personnel, missile technicians, whatever. And it was, and then that's been literally all of my communications with him have been around that, and he'll correct you immediately if you're wrong and if you're overstating a case.
Hastings is
actual
outstanding.
Statistics here, actual statistical analysis of citing near nukes versus other ways that are actually valid.
Well, yeah, it would be Edward J. Ruppelt's original study, where he came in. That was done from 1947 to 1952, and then he wrote a book about it in 1956.
I mean, the Colorado sightings, right? The 2019, 2020, those were over those nuclear missile silos, partially, and they mirrored 1965, the same exact, like they're witnesses talking about up and down movement, bright flashing lights. Where have we seen that before, right? And it's documented, right? 140 some witnesses.
And I met Robert Salas at Malmstrom in 1967. You know, that was his sighting, where, 10 of these sites were disarmed, according to him. And I've also met Mario Woods, who was stationed at, South Dakota Ellsworth Air Force Base in 1978. He claimed to have boarded a craft and been abducted. But this guy maintained a Q clearance for 20 years after this. And all these guys it's the most sensitive clearances. They're on what's called the PRP program, where they have to report if they're taking ibuprofen. Right. Yeah. So I do find that compelling.
It speaks to the whole issue with, Marco Rubio. We were talking about at the start, either there's some crazy people in power or, what they're saying is true.
And he leans towards true, right? Just to be clear. Rubio's very clearly leaning towards, I trust them.
But there is evidence that there are crazy people, but people with very strange ideas.
But who?
Lakatsky, for example, he's like a rocket scientist.
Right.
Yeah, but I think the more you go into highly competent, impressive circles of people, the more you realize a lot of these people are weird.
But who?
Tim Taylor.
Yeah, Tim Taylor's super weird, but he's also, working with Elon Musk around, various launches.
How weird.
That's interesting.
But that just speaks to how much weirdness you can actually get.
But at what point do you say, at what point do you say,
weird or?
At what point do you say reality is weird and that a proxy for somebody's credibility is actually how high functioning they are in society?
Perhaps there's just a big tolerance for weird within the Pentagon.
Can I ask, how weird do you have, you have to be pretty darn weird to go to the ICIG, Inspector General, and say, I was part of a reverse engineering program. That's right.
40 people have done.
Allegedly, right? That's what Grush testified under oath.
Bring it. Let's see them.
Right. Does that make sense, right? Okay, there can be weird people, but there's a different level of, I was on this program, and
those are the weird people.
I worked on this NHI craft. That's delusion. There's weird and then there's delusion if they're not.
We don't know what they said, but
enough for the Senate Intel could make guys.
We should move forward, but you should meet Hastings at one point. Let's watch this Duke video.
Bro, I am. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God.
Language.
No, that ain't no plane, yo.
Yeah, it's always a plane. We just got plane cut. It's blasted. Oh, we got a plane.
That ain't no plane. Bro. Take still shot too.
Well, the top one looks like the landing lights of a plane.
It just made a perfect triangle. It made a fucking triangle.
It's three lights in the sky.
We actually got a fucking you about. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, you can't get much from that.
Okay, let's. Wait, so one of them, so it's a triangle, and then one seems to kind of veer off.
One bums out, yeah.
The bottom one there is just sitting on there. Darker, otherwise not as became.
The light coming.
Okay, what do you guys make of this?
Mick?
Well, the white light at the top you can see there has got two lights, which kind of suggests to me that it's the landing lights of a distant plane, very far away. We see this quite a lot in these videos. People will see a plane that's coming directly towards them. It could be 40, 50, 100 miles away, not that far. And it looks like this. It just sits there and it kind of eventually raises up and it will eventually go over them. The other lights, I don't know. They were kind of orange looking.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they were. Could be helicopters, could be drones.
If they're landing lights, Mick, can we test this? Right? Because if I what?
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because we know where this. Do we know what facility this was? Yeah, Duke's Energy.
But do we have the time and location?
Well, no. But landing lights implies that there's an airport and a final approach path somewhere close by. We can test your hypothesis
if we have the location.
Yeah, so Southport, North Carolina. So we should look into that.
That's not really accurate enough. You need it.
Okay, fair enough.
Down to the street, pretty much.
And then we have some other people commenting. I have 7 videos of them from last night, around 30 minutes of good video. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina. The 2 mean ones were a red and blue one. The blue one was amazing to watch. Pulsate, grow 5x larger, then shrink back to size. I don't know.
people post videos of things that are obviously planes and think that they're UFOs. Yeah. So it's not surprising people will post videos of lights in the sky and think that they're UFOs.
I'm buddies with Tyler, so I'll get some
What I find more compelling maybe than this is, and I'll just be very quick, the Langley incursions. There's a witness video where the guy zooms out and you can see, I don't know, 10, 15 flashing light, and you can tell they're very, very far out.
Yeah.
Now, that is interesting in itself, but you see that over the Goldwater training range. There's a video, same thing, just unbelievable amounts of flashing lights in the sky. Drones, and oh, by the way, Air Force pilots have been reporting drones up to 36,000 feet. There's like 30 or 40 reports over the last couple of years that metallic objects, 8 or 9. It's all documented. You know, it's all out there.